South Africa create history. They complete history with a 2-0 whitewash against India. I can't keep back how proud I am of this team and the way they performed in this particular series. They were ruthless, they were clinical, they were to they came together. There was a sense of togetherness for this team. They were just ultimately fantastic right through this entire test match and throughout this test series as well. It's one of those situations where I'm really proud of the way they performed because not a lot of people would have backed South Africa going into the series. India is one of the toughest places to play cricket. It's one of the toughest places to get a victory. And they managed to do this um, together as a unit, together as a team. So I'm extremely proud of those players and I'm extremely proud of this team and the way they performed. And on today's show, we are going to be talking about all of this. We're going to be talking about the performance, what we liked, what we didn't like, and all of those things. That's what the show is going to be all about. But before we get going, before we get started, please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Click that notification bell for all future videos. Smash the like button, comment and share. And don't forget to comment in the comment section after we've ended the stream as well. Very important that you guys do so. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Please bear with me. I am very tired. It has been a hectic 2 days, week as well. Obviously, getting up early for the test match. I was at Portland Park last night to cover the qualifier. Covered this test match. Was involved with covering the qualifier. I had to watch that as well. So I'm just very beat. So I might be a little bit slow and I might be a little bit, what can I say? Unstable, you could say. Jittery. I don't know what it is. But my brain is quite overstimulated and I might make mistakes here and there, but bear with me on this one because, yeah, we need to cover this test series. So let's get into it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. And this is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid Moeddin, and this is the show where we're going to be discussing everything that happened in the test series between India and South Africa. And I'm trying to get my lighting right here, but it just ain't working for me today for some reason. Okay, that's a little bit better, but it's too low. So let's get a little bit lower. Stop right about there. That should be fine. Yeah, you guys are gonna just have to only see my ugly mug. Okay, let's get into the show because there's a lot to talk about. So I think I'm going to start with this giving you guys a quick overview of what happened in the second test match because it was the most impressive one out of the lot. For me personally, at least, I think so. I was very impressed with his performance. It's probably one of my favorite series ever that I've seen, in my opinion. Now, that might not be the case with everybody, but for me personally, it was a phenomenal series. It was a complete performance. Now, we weren't like treated to like massive scores, like someone scoring a 150 or 200 or whatever the case may be. But I thought as a team, the way they performed as a collective was just amazing. That was the thing that was very, very impressive for me. But let me just get into the details of what took place in this particular match. Now, You know that South Africa have broken now a 25-year wait to claim a series win in India. And today, the game was all about bowling India out as quickly as possible. But as you know, in that first session, it was particularly the first hour, it was always going to be a battle for South Africa to get wickets. And India was always going to get themselves into the match in that first hour, possibly. And they rode their luck actually in the first half an hour. Jansen took a wicket off a no ball. Markram dropped a catch in the slips of Harmer. So they looked like they were going to fight back here. But then after that half an hour, that first half an hour in the morning, the breakthrough came from a double strike from Harmer in the 24th over. He bowled Kuldeep Yadav and then enticed an edge from Dhruv Jural to Markram to slip again. And he held on, and India were 43 for 4 at this point. Then Harmer went again. It was the Harmer show actually this today. Harmer struck again, and when India just went past 50, Rishabh Pant edged it to Markram at slip, and they were 58 for 5 at that point. And then there was a period in the match where India kind of calmed things down. Now, Washington Sundar um, always is going to put in a fight, you know, in certain periods in the match. But yeah, it was Ravindra Jadeja that was brilliant. They kind of started to ease into the match. They were 90 for 5 at the point. And then they went into the break. And then straight after the break, Senator Mutasan, we found Sai Sudarsan's edge to Markram for his 8th catch of the match. And India were now 95 for 6. But then Jadeja was really good today. He batted extremely well under the circumstances. He helped bring up India's 130. But they had no answer. India had no answer. And Washington was sticking around with him. He faced 44 balls for his 16. But Harmer completed his second test fifer. And Washington Sundar edging to Markram for his 9th catch of the match. And it was a record-breaking fielding display from Aiden Markram because he ended up having 9 catches in the match. It's the first time ever that that's happened in Test cricket. And then India were 130 for 7 at that point. Harmer finished with 6 for 37 in the end. Ravindra Jadeja scored 54 of 87 balls. He really was involved with the resistance against South Africa. But he kept on losing partners. Nobody wanted to stick around with him. Nitish Kumar Reddy was the next wicket to fall, with Harmer with the batter edging to the keeper. India were now 138 for 8, and that was Harmer's 6 for. Maharaj then orchestrated the stumping of Jadeja on 54, and then we knew it was over, but it was over long before that. They were 149 at that point. And then Jansen. What a catch from Marco Jansen. It was a marvelous diving catch. Shiraj tried to hit him to mid-on area, to the long-on area. And then Jansen ran back from mid-on, from the sun into the shadows, eyes on the ball throughout that time, dived and stuck out his left hand. And it was the perfect way to seal the series with that magnificent catch from Marco Jansen. And that just kind of summed up the entire South African performance throughout this test series. Even with the crappy performance with the bat in the first test, the second test, it was a collective effort from everybody. Yes, not everybody went on to score 50s, but everybody contributed in this match. Everybody contributed. Everybody had their say and their part to play in getting this victory. India were all out for 140, and then South Africa won the series 2-0 with a 408-run win. Now, let me just get you into some of the stats over here. I just want to tell you some of the stats so that you guys know what the stats were all about. This was their second, this was South Africa's second biggest test victory by margin, behind the 492 run win against Australia in Johannesburg in 2018. I'm talking about now run margin. That obviously they were tests that we won by innings and something, but I'm talking about just a run margin win. The loss for India is their heaviest defeat by a margin of runs in Test cricket. This was the first series win for South Africa on Indian soil. The first was this since Hansie Cronje did it in 2000. I just want to edit this quickly because I don't understand how I messed that up. I had to read this piece again. Another major stat is that Temba Bavuma now has 11 wins in 12 games as a captain in Test cricket. Phenomenal captaincy from him. And also on top of it, also on top of it, South Africa now occupies the second position on the WTC rankings, right behind Australia, who have 48 points. We have 36 points from our 4 tests that we played. And the PCT improves from 66.67 to 75. So just pure perfection from the Proteas. This absolutely is the perfect victory for South Africa. Like, there's no other way for me to really put it. We were absolutely fantastic. And I think Coach Shukri deserves a hell of a lot of credit for what he's done with the test squad. The belief that they have. He makes these players believe in their abilities and then helps them level it up as well. Sorry, I just want to edit this quickly. Yeah, let me just update that. Sorry, guys, I'm doing stuff live here while I'm with you. I don't know. I didn't pick that up the first time. But anyway, I am done now. Come on. Cool. Yeah. So I'm extremely happy with the way this Proteas team performed. I think the togetherness that Coach Shukri brought with them, the way they brought the whole team together, the culture he's building, the belief he's built with his players, how they believe in their own abilities, how they believe in their own, they believe in everything that they do. They believe in each other. There's a camaraderie in this team. I just think overall it's a brilliant performance from everybody. And it was really impressive to see the way they performed throughout this test series. This match particularly was amazing, and it was a wicket that I would say it wasn't the trickiest or the most difficult of wickets It was a pure test wicket, I think, this one more than the other one, of course. And you needed to really play well in order to win. You know, you needed to really play good test cricket in order to win. And that was the key in this match. You needed to apply yourself. You needed to play proper test cricket. You needed to be patient at the right times. All of those things needed to take place in order for you to get a victory here. And that's exactly what South Africa did. So, yeah, let's get into the live chat. Now, I have put the link, I've pinned it to the top, I think, for you guys. I think it's pinned to the top. Otherwise, just look in the live chat. It is there. There's a link there if you guys want to call in and have your say. What's going to happen is I'm not going to necessarily converse with you guys unless there's something that I want to add my 2 cents in. I want to give you guys an opportunity to obviously speak and have your say with regards to the team and their performance. So I don't want to be hogging the spotlight and hogging the mic. I want to give you guys a chance to obviously say what you'd like to say. But let's get into the live chat. ID number, I'm going to call you ID number. Absolutely brilliant. Alwan says, Proteas, nou weet hulle wat ons weet, Khalid. We did it. All the critics silenced by true test champions. India look here from the Cape Flats with love. Brilliant comment, bro. Just want to see if I can make this a little better for you guys. Yeah, I need a new computer. Who wants to buy me a new Mac? Let me just get in here. Sam says, Harley tried to cover Coach Shukri's press conference and Temba conference also in this review. There is no Coach Shukri press conference. There is only a Temba Bavuma one. We can have a listen. We can have a listen to it if you guys want to. Just let me know in the live chat if you guys want to listen to that press conference or not with me. Otherwise, I can just read out the quotes to you. I have a quote speech on the website if you guys want to see the quotes of Temba. There's nothing really spectacular or magnificent said in there, really. Alvin says, even brilliant from coach delaying the Rabada announcement. Got them with the old bait and switch. They planned for Kesh, Sen, and Rabada and got exact opposite Arma and Marco and loaded with lefties. Alvin also says, you expect right arm pace and left arm spin, and you get left arm pace and right arm spin. Brilliant indeed. Cap Stinger says, congrats, bro. Daksh says, I backed SA from the start. Langa song continues as we dismantle India. Shukri, gravel word is working. True. Yeah, that was a bit offside, what was said there, based on the history of the word. And where it came from originally. I'm surprised that he actually said it, but yeah, it was an interesting one because of the way the media has taken and ran away with it, and I think blown it a little bit out of proportion in a way. Capsting says, have you been to India? Never in my life have I been to India. I would like to go someday. Dark shares mull the batting and bowling with full control. Works for Proteas. Harmer should be the second spinner with Kesh in center conditions. We'll see. Only disappointment is Shukri's comments, which could have been avoided. Otherwise, it's a brilliant performance. Duck says we are in the second position of the WTC table. Irritation is this is only 2 matches series. As a champions, we are going to know it will. We're going now. It will be in September versus Sandpaper team at home. Sandpaper team. Tala says, I think Grover was really taken out of context. He did say, though, in the press conference to steal a phrase. So what phrase was he referring to is the question. That's the big question. Tax says, first Hansi and now Autimba into India. Tala says, I'm really excited for the series against Aussies and England next year. And I'm happy we are playing 3 tests. Very excited. Tala says, let's hope we continue our form in white ball setup and not lose everything. At least put up a fight. I know it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. We are going, but we got the players to do it. Tala says, I think India will want revenge for the Test series and they will try to humiliate us in White Ball series because they got a lot of backlash for losing the tests. But I think they will be under pressure too. I think it's going to be a lot harder. I don't think that we will dominate the way we dominate. I think we're going to really have to fight for our ODI and T20 wins if we want to win. Really, I do. Rakiso says the kid of Meltdown, the Indian reporters are having is sad having said that as Shukri apologized. There hasn't been any pressure yet. I haven't seen anything yet. Just give me a second. I don't think I've seen anything. Um, just have to check my I have to check my phone there. There was no presser from Shukri yet. There's only been a presser from Temba Bavuma and Simon Harmer. Simon Harmer is one I'm not going to cover on here because I have his quotes on the website. Shai Guevara off says Mutusami is a clutch player. He should be included in all formats. Now Proteas fans need to support him. Arvind says, hey bro, Khalid, incredible victory. How do you rate this SA test side? The fighting spirit that this test side has, the togetherness that they have, I think I rate them as one of the best test teams that we've ever had. Purely on their comeback ability and ability to fight back from difficult situations and scenarios. They can find themselves in a tricky situation and then still end up with a massive winning margin in the end. Like, that's the crazy thing about it. They recover, but they don't just recover. They recover and smash a team. So that is something that is phenomenal. The way they pulled that first test out of their hat was absolutely brilliant. Tala says, I don't think there's a need to apologize. Indians are taking it out of context. Cliso says the over 400 win was like never battered in the first innings. It's like we never batted in the first innings. Tala says, just imagine if we end up winning the ODI and T20 series also. It will be icing on the cake and it will really boost the team's confidence going into the T20 World Cup. That would be brilliant. Of course, it would be brilliant. I really hope that Coach Shukri can. You see, with a test team, he can spend a lot more time with these players, to ingrain an environment and an ethos. They spend a lot more time together. A lot of the times, these teams will meet up, play games, and then leave again. It's not like a lot of team building, etc. So I'm hoping that Coach Shukri can implement the same type of culture and togetherness and mentality in the white ball teams too, and that he gets the time to do so. I think he needs to take these players on camps and spend some time with them to really get them, integrated with each other, get them believing in each other, etc. Tala says it seems we are heading towards another SA versus Australia WTC final unless something extraordinary happens. Capstinger says, I don't want another SA versus Australia World TC final, man. Me neither. Shay Guevara off says, SA versus New Zealand WTC final. Real G says, I have to eat my words regarding Stubbs. I was one of the doubters who thought he would make a way for Brevis, but finish. You see, I'm very, very cautious of writing players off and dropping players, especially with how little tests we play. If we played a little bit more test matches and there were performances that like prolonged where players weren't performing, I would be probably a lot harsher on players calling for the drop, etc. But because we only play 2 test matches, it's very hard for players to find a rhythm and get into a rhythm. It's going to take them, maybe if they're off form in test cricket, it's going to take them like maybe a test and a half to get themselves back into it if they're really struggling. Not everybody can score runs every single innings. So when you do go on a dip, you don't really have a 5 match series where you can go 2 matches and have a bad 2 or 3 matches and then find your way in the same conditions and then get yourself back into form. By the time you starting to find form, by the time you're starting to learn that conditions already to try and get yourself back into form again, you're gone again into the next conditions, into the next test series. So I'm very wary of like trying to, for this particular team in this kind of situation that we're in, I'm very, how can I say, I'm very cautious to want to say that players should be dropped or not. Pratik says this performance in the subcontinent has really put SA back on the pedestal. Tala says, but it seems that way. There is no way England is going to win the Ashes, and India are already low on confidence. Only Pakistan has a chance, it seems, the way their schedule is this time around. Real G says, with most runs. Are you adding to what you said earlier? Tala says, I think Brevis can still play a role at number 6 for us in test. And that's what I like. We've got so many options. It's brilliant. Avant says beating India in India by this huge margin is out of this world. Not even the primest of prime Australia or West Indies could do this. Well, we have to admit, though, that those Indian teams of the past were far superior, the players that were in those teams, compared to this India team. This is probably one of the weaker Indian teams that I've seen put together. Pratik says, Shukri has to get a lot of credit, but the grovel comment was really unnecessary. You should be humble when you boss the game like that. Pratiso said, oh, by the way, I nearly fainted 3 times when Jansen had a wicket no ball. Markram dropped the catch, and that other one from India getting his 50. Yeah. You know, that grovel word as well. It wasn't after this test match. It was like they were talking about the declaration, and in the context of the declaration, he used that word. He could have used a better word though. But in that word, the reason for why he didn't declare a lot earlier, that was the question that they were asking him. Pratik says, I would actually include Harmer in ODIs as well, just to check how he goes when he is in such good form. Also, that's what's next for Harmer. Would he be considered over Kesh? I don't think he will be. Even the way Simon Harmer spoke in his post-match interview, he's of the understanding and the belief that Keshav is still the best spinner and the first choice spinner. He just wants to do a job where he can. That's what he said at least. But he's not going to say, I'm better than Kesh easy. Sanjay says, was Shane Warne's spirit in Harmer's body? He was wrecking India into shreds single-handedly. Pratik says, Pakistan series acted as great preparation for the India tour. Series win after 25 years is no mean feat. Real G says, I've been waiting for this for over half my life. It's so sweet when you feel it, when it happens. Sanjay says, in the test series, Harmer was bowling like prime Shane Warne, raised his bowling to another level. Pratik says, please, next series is in October 2026 against Australia. Can't wait. Would be a really good one. It's so long, though. It's so long away. You see, now, that poses another problem now. These players have just hit their peak now in this match. A lot of players are hitting their form and stuff, and then bam, no test cricket for another year almost. It's crazy. Capstinger says, bro, give us your thoughts on the World Cup groups. Yeah, we have kind of a little bit of a group of death there, playing Afghanistan. And we play Afghanistan, we play New Zealand, Canada. So having Afghanistan and New Zealand in the same group, aish. Ikram says, what a unique time for South Africans. Our 3 major sports teams, Proteas, Bafana, and Springboks, are performing brilliantly this year and last year has to be South Africa's great sporting year. Pratik says, Issa would be disappointed now if they don't make the WTC final. Tex says, Harley, through your connections, please ask the SA20 officials to get Brett Proctor in this year's comedy box for SA20. I don't know, maybe we'll. Alvan says, undisputed test champions. First, we beat them with character and grit, and now sheer domination. Let me just go. Okay, Pratik says next. Um, Come on, guys. Next priority would be T20 World Cup, where the teams needs more time to develop to a polished side. I'm very worried about our T20 team, man. Yo, something feels off about it at the moment. I feel. Shai Guvarov says Mutasami can now be promoted up the order as a batter and bowler, and bowl some quality spin. Good addition. Sanjay says, Khalid, how do you rate Mutasami's bowling? Can he be an integral part of the test side? I think it can still improve. I think there's still a lot for him to learn from the likes of Keshan Arm, etc. It can get better. I truly believe that because Keshav Maharaj got better and better as he got older. So I think that, and the same with Simon Armour. So I think that they can really teach him a hell of a lot, and he's a very smart cricketer overall. So I think he'll be able to learn and get better. Clinton says, SA only team to whitewash India twice in Test history. Yep. Khalid, were you at Boland Park? Says text. Yes, I was. That's where I was last night. Came on very late because Boland Park is like a 45-minute to 50-minute drive from my house and back. Shai Guevara says South African fans and players don't even give proper credit for Mutasami's performance. He's an underrated player. Nah, his performance was brilliant. At 100 was superb. Even the bowling role that he had today, he took a very crucial wicket at a very crucial time in the match. So that was something that also needs to be commended. He's great in the field as well. He's just an all-round brilliant cricketer. Come on, well, Volba Stanley Pinar says, how do you compare the Proteas of 2025 versus the team of 2008? I think the team of 2008, you see, that I think they had a lot more superstars, that can win you a game. That can win you a game like single-handedly almost. If you understand what I'm saying, like they've got a lot of individuals that will be able to turn up and perform on an instant and then win a game for you out of nowhere. It's a very good team, of course it is. I mean, the players in that team were obviously phenomenal. And yes, they also went through a little bit of a like rebuild type of vibe as well, trying to find the players here and there to take over from certain other players, etc. So, there can be there's certain similarities in the fighting spirit as well in that team, I would say. But I just like this team better. I think they get along better. I think they're like a group of players that have come together. The fighting spirit that they have, the winning mentality to take themselves out of a difficult situation and win matches so consistently. I just like this team better. I don't know why. This is something about them. And they don't necessarily have major superstars, but they find ways to win test matches and win scenarios and get themselves out of trouble. Alvin says, India, who's the Okay, I'm not going to use that word. Biggest margin ever, and the only team to whitewash India twice at home in history. Avan says, Khalid, what happened to Kutsia? He was injured again. Tala says, imagine we had Boxing Day and New Year's Test. It would have been a full house, and what a vibe it would have been. Ish, we missed out, man. Yeah, we got the SA20 in that period. I'm really irritated by that. Shay Guevara off says 2016-2020 World Cup. The team with depth in batting won the World Cup. West Indies, South Africa need depth in batting order. We got a lot more all rounders now in our setups and stuff like that. I think we have a very deep batting lineup in general. Pratik says team of 2008 was A-listers. This side 2025 is still growing. It's amazing that they have achieved in the last 2 years, and that's where a lot of credit has to go to the coaching staff. Yeah, the way they've achieved, regardless of being so young still. There's a lot of youngsters in the team. Tala says, I think we are going to dominate Test cricket for the next 10 years. I hope so. Tala says, Khalid, who do you think can take over as a test keeper after Bavuma, if not Aiden? Very, very good question, eh? Very, very good question. If not Aiden. Well, that's a very difficult question you need to ask me now. Yeah, you stumped me. The only one in this team currently that is a captain for the franchise is Calverena. But Calverena hasn't been consistent enough with the bat, I feel, to be crowned as a captain here. But Wuma's so brilliant. Aiden is the best second captain. Yeah, I can't answer this question, and it's really bothering me that I can't. I mean, Vian Mulder's an option, but his place is not. Is his place like guaranteed in the team? I don't think so. Lishaba says, "Thanks, Holly. What do you feel about our coach's comments about? I don't like the word that was used. It wasn't necessary to use that word. You could have said toil, or you could have said something else. But we need to wait and see what he says, if he apologizes, etc. But I don't agree with the term that was used. You could have used a better term, given the history of the term. Like, obviously, without the history of that term, then it's just a descriptive word. But with the history behind that word, particularly in cricket, it's not a very nice word to have used. Bro says, is Miller coming back for the ODIs and T20s against India? T20s, yes. ODIs, no. If I remember correctly. I need to find that. Where did I put the teams? Do I have it on my computer still? Did I not download it on my computer? Yeah, one of you guys can tell me in the comment section. I can't remember. Sanjay says, Khalid, when will we see the best of Aiden? It should be now. We should be seeing it now. This is now the time we need to kick on and be more consistent for South African all formats. Patik says maybe Stubbs as captain, if not Aiden. I don't think Stubbs is a captain material. Stubbs is not the best talker as well. He doesn't like to talk and press conferences and interviews and stuff like that. And you need a captain that can speak well. And it's just not for Tristan. He's not. I don't think he's that type of person. He can be a good vice captain though, because his cricket brain is brilliant. Bro says Keshav, the obvious answer. Yeah, but I mean, you want to pick a captain that can be a captain for the next few years, for the next 10, 5 years, 10 years maybe. Um, you don't want to pick someone that is only going to be there for another 2 3 years and then leave again. Because I mean, Kesha and Temba will probably be the first ones out. When it comes to retiring and stopping playing. So I won't throw Keshav into the mix over there with regards to that. Otherwise, it would be Kesh, obviously, if he was younger. But Mutasami doesn't get selected regularly enough. Yeah, so it's a difficult question because none of them are captains except Carl in this whole team for their franchise. Alvin says, gotten so much backlash past few days from Indian supporters. Wow, it's crazy. For supporting my coach, team, and country. Want some sugar to go with that sour grapes and bitter pill you now have to swallow? Texas Khalid, why no stubs in the ODI? I don't know the reason behind it. I honestly don't. It's one of those things where I feel that maybe he wants to give some other players an opportunity and some players some rest from the 50 over format uh, because they played the whole 4 tests in a row. So I don't know. Maybe that's the reason. I don't know. Avan says Keshav. Um, Arjun Matan Kumar says, I think that's how you pronounce it. Bro, why is Nanda not in the T20 side? And again, where the heck is Imad? I don't know. Can't tell you why. Can't tell you why. Khalid, bro says, Khalid, who's better between Jordan and Ruben? You're asking me now. Ay, 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 ay. Depends the format, I think. In the longer format, I think it's Jordan. Shorter format, I think it's Ruben. But also at the same time, they play different roles in their teams. Jordan's an opening batter. Ruben's more of a middle order batter, like top order, middle order, so like a 3-4. The games are very different, so I can't really say who's better. It's like comparing Deva Brevis with Matthew Brzezinski, in Test cricket. They play a completely different game, or Tony DeZorzi and Matthew Brzezinski or something like that. Tala says Tubbs is a new captain for Sunrisers. Let's see how he goes. Maybe then you will get a clear picture. What do you think? Maybe, yeah, that maybe can be a good practice for him. Pratik says, hope Norkia will not get injured now and play long for SA. You see, I don't have an issue with Stubbs' ability. On field, he'll be a great captain. On field, he'll be a brilliant captain. So for domestic team, I think he'll be a brilliant captain, right? Or for a franchise like that, maybe you'll be a great captain. Not a franchise where you're going to have to talk a lot in the public and stuff like that, but the media training and what you tell the media and how you handle yourself like that is also very important as a captain for South Africa, especially in South African cricket. So that comes part of the package. He'll be brilliant on the field. I think he'll make brilliant decisions and his brain is brilliant. But to be the face of South African cricket and with all the issues that arise with it, I don't know. Maybe it's too early for Stubbs. Bobastani Pinar says, Khalid, what do you think of IPL Franchise League, the first class? Huh? Khalid, what do you think of an IPL Franchise League for first class cricket? We had a franchise cricket before with the Cobras and the Dolphins. Before we had it. They changed it now to domestic. I like the format currently. Tex says, Khalid, are you opening combo for the T20 and ODI? I'm not sure. I mean, for T20, it will definitely be for T20, it will definitely be Quinton and Aiden, and then Rickleton and Aiden in ODIs, I think. She says Shukri said they want to try out a left-hander middle order in Ruben. I think that's why Stubbs was left out. Yeah, and it also gives them a chance to rest him. Cheese also says clinical win, total dominance. Um, Shai Guevara says Markram, Quini, Breva, Stubbs, Miller, Ferreira, Mutasami, Janssen, Maharaj, Rabada. Sorry, Coben Bosch, Janssen, Maharaj, Rabada. What's your opinion on this team for T20 World Cup? I would have London in here instead of Ferreira. Bro says, Carly, do you think SA will pick Quentin the Cock for the T20 World Cup? Because Rickleton and these are also open. I think if he does well again against India, I think then it's sorted, it's settled. In Watan's cases, I believe it is just to let Stubbs focus on T20. She says, I think it's time we accept Stubbs as a number three. Even in a shorter format, he loves taking his time. I've been saying he's a number three for many, many years. That's where he should be batting. So, everyone, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you want any extra information like quotes and stuff like that, or there's other pieces on the website, click at fanaticsmag.com. If you want to read up on that, there's some stories that we've done as a follow up. If you want some extra information, try to cover everything that I can on the show. Very tired now. It's been a long, long day. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all the support. Well done, Proteas, for the amazing performance that you gave us and a victory that we can celebrate. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys again very soon with another live cricket show. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. Click that notification bell to know when we go live again, and also comment in the comment section after we've ended the stream. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Have a great evening. Peace out.